Hello. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Danny, and this is the Common Rule Podcast. Thank you so much. All right, how you been? So that's the first week of February. Woo-wee. Man, been thinking about a couple of things here that were really interesting, and I wanted to talk to you about as I'm going through my images here to finalize for my art show. And I keep thinking about cliches and the things that have been done before. And I'm looking at my artwork. Now, the theme of my artwork, it's going to be a bunch of still lives. It's going to be about fruit. There is a theme behind it, and I'll get into that too in a little later podcast as far as what I'm trying to portray. Not doing still lives. I'm calling them more portraits of fruit. At the foundation of it all, they are just still lives. They're my still lives. And how many pictures of fruit have you seen? How many pictures, how many still lives, paintings have you seen of fruit, of, whatever it is, from grapes to pomegranates to pineapples? We've all seen those pictures before. Every artist, major artist, has done some sort of still life, whether it's photography-wise, which is in my wheelhouse, I guess, but also painters. Great painters have all done their version of grapes, apples, wine on a tablecloth with dramatic lighting, not so dramatic lighting. We've all done it, and while the subject matter is the same, you're not going to call, you're not going to call Caravaggio's version of rotting fruit a cliche. It's not. A cliche is something that's generic, that hasn't been. I think normally the implied thought process is that there's not much thought that has been put into essentially copying somebody else's work. But it's cliche, in my opinion. I don't think it's a terrible thing. I don't think they're all that bad within a certain context. I think they're okay. I think they're okay to grow as an artist. There's a reason we start off playing our guitars wanting to sound like Jimi Hendrix or wanting to sound like Robert Johnson, playing slide guitar like our favorite R.L. Burnside sort of cat, and wanting to play blues like Muddy Waters. There's a reason why you want to come out sounding that way. Don't pretend that it's yours. Just understand that we need to get it out of our systems. I do think that we need to do them to purge them, to understand, I think, why they're cliches. A cliche is a cliche because it's a cliche. Everything about it is bland on its own. But yes, I think we do need to get it out of our systems. We do need to do those little blues turnarounds. We do need to do those images as from this standpoint, from a photographer standpoint. I mean, there's a reason why Hunter S. Thompson essentially plagiarized. Well, he didn't plagiarize. What he did was he wrote entire novels word for word. And his reasoning for it was that he just wanted to get used to writing good words, lots of good words together. Again, I think I've mentioned this one. One of my favorite quotes is from Eric Clapton, saying that he wasn't afraid to try to copy other guitarists lick for lick, because he found out that the more he tried to sound like them, the more he ended up sounding like themselves. And that makes sense, obviously. You're not Buddy Guy. You're not Hound Dog Taylor. You're Danny. You're a guy learning, wanting to learn those slide guitar licks that made R.L. Burnside famous, or Muddy Waters famous, those guitar licks, that we all want to emulate. Once you've learned it and used that cliche, don't sit there and pretend that it's yours. Don't pretend that it's new. I mean, you look like a total douchebag trying to brag about how you are inventing a new genre of music that has that has been done so many times before, or that you came up with this new brush stroke, or that you just came up with this new way of, of impressionist painting, super postmodern impressionist painting that looks exactly like a Monet. You have to educate yourself to understand the cliches and understand what it is they're coming from. I mean, I've had a couple of musicians brag about how they're not really influenced by any artist, or they're not, they don't listen to the radio, or, they just find inspirations on themselves. And then you go and you see them live and they sound like a terrible Sublime cover band. I've had this one lady musician talk to me, say the exact same thing. So I just draw from my own inspiration, and I don't really listen to anyone, and it's just all my own. And then you go listen to them, and it sounds like a fucking terrible drunken karaoke version of Stevie Nicks. And I'm like, really? Come on. And it's just such a turnoff. Well, from my standpoint as the observer and the person who's looking at these musicians, fail, essentially, is that they've missed an opportunity to grow. They missed an opportunity to expand their musical knowledge and their musical taste, instead of trying to pretend that they don't listen to music. They've never educated themselves past a certain genre of music just to, and I don't know, weird, just to brag about that you don't listen to music. I mean, who are you trying to fool? Someone who's never listened to Stevie Nicks? Somebody who's never listened to Sublime? It seems, I don't know what the end purpose of that is. I don't know what the end purpose of bragging about how you are your own influence is of any use to anyone, especially once people listen to you who know a little bit about music. But aside from trying to be those guys, I do think that once we purge ourselves from the cliches, I mean, and I've done it as well. When I first started, I wanted to take pictures that I thought were just amazing. I mean, there's even an Onion article, I think, I read a few years ago that was hilarious and got me to thinking about how true that is. There's got to be someone on the Onion that's also a photographer, but the Onion wrote about how this high school student just really got into photography, and that she's going to take photography to the next level. And then she's going to take photographs of her grandmother's hands, of the trees, of railroad tracks, of flowers, and really just take what it is to take black and white film photography to the next level in this dying age of what's good because digital is taking over. Something crazy like that. But I'm like, that is that is hilarious. That's hitting the nail right on the head of the cliches. You're going to hit them, pop, pop, And like I said, I've done it. I've taken pictures of hands and all that jazz, and I thought it was good. I mean, it's a way to purge yourself from repeating shit over and over again. But if we're going to take, let's just say, if you're going to take a page from literature, see what I did there? If we're going to take something from literature, is that I read somewhere, if we broke it down, of all the plots that are left in the world that have been done, I think there's something like right around 37 plots, 35, 37 plots. And if you boil it down, there's really even less than that. Like we're talking about love, revenge, boy gets girl, sort of tragedies and comedies. There's only so many plots. And they've all been done before. You look at things that stories from Shakespeare. How many Shakespearean stories have been told over and over again? But what it is, it's how the stories are told that's captivating. There really isn't anything new about revenge plots, but how that there's a revenge plot. This guy has got to get revenge because his family was killed, or his daughter or his daughter was taken, and it's a plot of revenge. But how that story is told, it keeps it from being a cliche. There's a difference between these low budget movies that stand out, that have zero budget, as opposed to some of these super duper bazillion-dollar movies that you look at and you're like, God damn, that was I mean, right now, exactly what I'm thinking about is one of the best B movies ever made, maybe the best B movie ever made, is Warriors. It's a 1970s flick about, and all it is, it's a retelling of Ulysses. I believe I got the poem. Homer, one of Homer's poems. And I get the Ulysses and the Odyssey mixed up. It's one of those two. You can look it up. Fuck it. You got Google, use it. But it's a retelling of one of those epic poems. As opposed to Waterworld, which is, at that, when Waterworld was made, it was, I believe, the most expensive movie ever made. The other movie, like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Again, a retelling of one of the Homer's epic poems. Those are awesome movies. Warriors. Can you dig it? That's a fucking badass movie, man. And it took like $2 to make. And, you know, it was, but they made it. You know, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? The same sort of story. I think it's actually the same story, but it's a retelling. They're both the same fucking story. They are. But that didn't keep them from making it. It's just how you tell the story. Then, of course, I'm using movies as this, but it's what keeps them from being a cliche, as opposed to movies like Waterworld, you know, and movies like, I haven't seen all of Avatar, but I've seen all of Dances with Wolves. It's the same story, but they're told differently, and it's just the way they told it. So when I look at my fruit, I'm okay with it, man. I look at my still lives. They're the way that I've told the same cliche about still lives, and I'm okay with them. And yes, there was a struggle in me, like, man, what the fuck? Is this going to be all right? And there's a theme that I'm trying to portray through the portraits of fruit in various stages, and I'll get into that too as I make better notes, so that it doesn't sound as jumbled as Old Man Rant. So it doesn't sound as like my secret podcast. But again, there are only 37 plots. It's how you tell the story, and I believe it's the same thing for in all humanity. There's only so many things that, whether it's a comedy or a tragedy or something in between, there's very few things that as a human race we have not seen. So when you're creating, get it out of your system. Do it. Do an entire episode or an entire series of cliches. Get it out of you. I mean, who knows? Maybe you'll be better at it than someone else. Maybe you'll be the worst one of all time. Who cares? Get it out of your system. Do it. But the key is to learn something from it, to understand that why is it a cliche? Why do people love taking pictures of flowers? Why do people love taking pictures of their, or making even paintings of their grandmother's hands and things like that? You know, it's the subject matter and the storytelling hopefully will make you understand why some things are compelling and some things are just, you know. And with that said there, I am thinking about, along the cliche line, I think I'm going to start a fan club. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to ask for money like on a Patreon. Well, it'll be probably through a Patreon or Patreon website. One of the things that I just listened to a couple of podcasts, and there's a couple of Kickstarters that are failing, and I don't understand why people are asking for money. A lot of podcasts have a Patreon. Hey, go to a Patreon page because we want your support. And I'm like, why? Like I said, to put this podcast out, I don't need a sponsor for it, although I have one at Phoenix Revival, at PHX Film Revival. That is the Instagram. Daniel's running the show out there. Go ahead, give them a listen. But I think what I do have to offer is, photographs. I think that I can start a fan club. I decided that I'm at least going to think seriously about it, to where if you decide to be part of the fan club and be a subscriber to the fan club, I am going to offer things up like original D. De La Cruz black and white handmade in America prints of all various sizes, collectibles for sure. I think that might be of interest to people. And who knows, I'll put it out there, and if people do it, fine. And if they don't, you know what, fuck it, who cares? It's just an offer out there. I mean, I can offer stickers and T-shirts and such. I can have a sort of double tiered for depending on what kind of photograph you want. Some of you know what kind of photographs I take. I'd like to call them secular, non-secular photographs. And I think that's something that I can offer up. So look out for that. I mean, like I said, I have at least put serious thought into having a fan club for all 5 of you listening out there. And maybe I'll make it happen. Maybe I won't. I just have right now. I am having too much fun in the dark room, and I'm coming up with very different ways of printing my photographs to the point where I've pretty much got a really, really nice system down. And also, I'm going to bug Daniel out there at Phoenix Film Revival, and I think what we're going to do is start being able to process platinum prints, which I think the process looks super cool. So look out for those too, and offering those as part of fan club merch, if you will. Merch or perks, one of the two. All right. So again, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. I gotta go. Actually, it's my buddy's birthday today. We're gonna go up here to a nice little local eatery. I'll mention them on the next podcast in case they're terrible, but they're good people there, right here in central uptown Phoenix. It's his birthday. Gonna wish him, hey, happy birthday, Billy, if you listen to this. And this podcast again was brought to you by the number 37 and the letter B as in Billy. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day and enjoy your youth.